write about. Trying to figure out what it's all about. Existential, worth anything or just discount? I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know.
Spending time all alone, sending my songs through the phone, dreaming of a better home, while focused on trying to hone this craft, witchcraft. I hope the brujas let this last.
I don't know if the earth is big.
That was the great sounds of Watts with Outside on WNHH LP 103.5 FM New Haven. Myself, Prestige, with my partner in crime, Long Island raised, Elm City made, EZ BlueZ is in the building. Easy BlueZ, you're better with introductions more than me. Who do we have with us today on Behind the Brand?
Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to say on one of the many adventures / misadventures of being easy, I was walking through the streets of New Haven and I was summoned. The easy signal appeared over the State House and I knew I needed to. But while construction is happening and they are laying a fiber optic cable for Xfinity right in front of the State House, there was an event inside that was absolutely stunning. There were performers that took that stage hostage and held it and drained it for every penny it was worth. And that night it was worth some pennies. But there, in the distance, the beacon of the entire evening that held it together, rocking gear that would make Johnny Rotten really feel bad that the gear was stolen from. I'll be honest. He probably would have sued. He's not a nice guy. But there was this incredible performer who had you could tell on the way to the show, 19 people had cut them off. You know, they were flipped off by a 97-year-old grandma that cut into the lane when they shouldn't have been.
Oh, my.
And this person took out all of that energy on the stage, and I was completely a fan and captivated. I want you to put your hands together for the amazing drag king and show organizer and promoter, Frankie CYANIDE. Thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, what up? Thank you for having me. I do vaguely remember there being some traffic on the way to the State House that day. Cannot verify the age of anybody who may have flipped me off on the highway, but I like it a little bit. You tell the story, so let's go with that.
That's amazing. So for the listener at home and the people that are viewing through the Book of Face, what exactly is a drag king? Let's start there.
So that's a good place to start. So, you know, drag has really been in the media a lot, especially lately, for good and bad reasons, I suppose. And most people are familiar with the concept of a drag queen. You know, there's RuPaul showing up on the Brady Bunch movie and what have you. And for the longest time, most people's understanding of drag was, oh, yeah, it's when men dress as women. Yay, the end. This has never really been the full story. There have always been a lot of different gender expressions and gender identities throughout the drag spectrum. A lot of trans women out there. There have been trans men out there. In the 90s, there was a really big drag king scene in New York City. And so drag kings, at the simplest form, would be generally, not always, but generally, women who dress as men. But ultimately, if we are to expand that umbrella, it is performative masculinity, and your identity outside, off stage, is less important. There are both cisgender and transgender men who are drag kings as well. But it's that performative masculinity, that tongue-in-cheek, and lots of glitz and glamour and glam in general. So, yeah, I put on funny outfits and I lip sync to things, and people give me money for it. That's what a drag king is.
Now, what I think is absolutely amazing is, you know, the truest dichotomy of, anytime a type of performer goes, they have to kind of create another persona. And this is the one medium where it is truly accepted unto the umpteenth degree. And it's amazing to see. And as a performer, like I tell everybody that, trying to rock a stage, no matter what style of music you do, if you really want a crash course on how to captivate an audience, you should be at a drag show. Because attention is not only given, but it is demanded. And it is demanded in a way it's just stunning to see. The same type of stuff that we would see from like Freddie Mercury, you see at the drag shows. Now, because we are in that topic and we're not afraid of uncomfortable conversations, do you feel that that is a byproduct of being part of a marginalized community?
I would say yes. There's certainly a lot to be said for both drag kings and drag queens. It is a lot of that sort of, hey, look at me, pay attention to me, because so much of our lives have often been not seeing ourselves in the media, not feeling represented in the media. And especially with drag kings, who, when the media talks about drag, we generally are completely ignored anyway. There's even more of this, yo, I'm here. I'm performing here. Take a look at me. Give me some of your money and then shut up and then look at me. And I do think that being in a minority community is definitely a big part of that. Many of the roots of the drag scene come from the Black and Latino queer communities of inner cities in the 70s and 80s. And so there's definitely a lot of intersection there as well. And I can't speak to much of that. I am technically half Cuban, but I am very pale. So I really am not the spokesperson for the race side of that. But yeah, as a generally gender non-conforming butch lesbian, that's definitely a big part of it. And some of the most entertaining performers who know how to command that stage are the least privileged in their off-stage lives.
Thank you for being open and honest with that, and it's amazing to see, because it is the superheroes that you get to be actively, and for a lot of people, it is the superheroes they need in their own lives to feel safe. I don't know if you follow the tickety tockety thingy, but they had one.
Easy,
Oh
we
boy.
lost you.
Yeah, we lost them.
Oh boy.
No, we got you. We got you. Let me just pick you back up. You're on TikTok, brother. You're on TikTok, brother.
So
we got you.
They had this thing going on TikTok. The adult that you've grown to be is the adult you would have felt safe with as a child. And I think like going to a drag show and paying attention, the absolute freedom and the command is beautiful. It is that amazing artistic statement of, yes, this is the perfect universe and where I feel the safest. And it's a beautiful thing to see as someone, who fits into every single type of room because of my complexion, but also doesn't necessarily fit in because of my tattoos. And it happens. I'm a scary person, people say. I don't know why.
I don't know. You're you're an adorable teddy bear from what I've seen of you.
Now, have you been a performer your entire, like, were you performing in the mirror to, like, I don't know, Wham? Because Wham's just awesome.
Not quite, but also yes. So, one thing that really explains everything about me is I was raised by late 70s New York punks who became professional clowns. And so nothing about me is a surprise whatsoever when taking that into account. But I have always been an obnoxious wise ass. That is a radio friendly word that I can say. And I did do theater in middle school and band class. I was a band kid. I played tuba. But I've always been the person who grabs the microphone. I always loved watching game shows and those 70s game show hosts. Okay, goodbye, Dustin. The 70s game shows with Richard Dawson or Monty Hall or Gene Rayburn, and I just always loved those guys and wanted to be like those guys. And then I was a radio DJ in college, and that was performance in its own sense. But it took me until I was 26 to actually start doing drag. Wonder where he went.
Gone? Oh my goodness. You said 26 years old? You started?
Yeah. Yep.
So how long has your career been? How old are you now?
I am 29 now.
29?
I might have started at 25. It was 25 or 26, something like that. I didn't really start getting many bookings until right before spring 2020. I was really on the up and up in early 2020, and then something happened that screwed that up. Can't quite remember what it was, like a panini or something, but
something happened. Yeah,
something happened.
It affected everybody too.
Yeah, but I did end up using the lockdown and quarantine and everything. I worked on my audio and video editing skills, and I made a lot of music videos of me being really, really stupid on camera, and so I used it to my advantage as much as possible. And then once the world reopened, I kind of hit the ground running, and I have been taking over Connecticut and giving everybody cyanide poisoning.
I was multitasking, listening to you and Easy at the same time, just doing a little independent research myself just throughout this whole process of the broadcast. And I saw this video on YouTube, Don't You Want Me? It's two sides of the coin, this YouTube video.
That was literally one video or 1 week into lockdown. And
really?
I already had reached that point of boredom of, well, I guess I'm going to film both sides of my makeup has gotten a lot better since then. But yeah, I did not take my ADD medication. I have no idea what we were talking about. Like, was there a start to this train of thought? I don't know.
Hey man, you look like you were having so much fun. You look like you were having so much fun, having the time of your life.
Look at this hair. I got full rainbow in my hair.
Nice.
Yeah.
Definitely. I love the creativity.
So yeah, welcome back, Dustin. You dropped off for a minute, but you exist again.
And he's back with us on WNHHLP 103.5 FM New Haven. Myself, Prestige, and my partner in crime, Long Island raised, Elm City made, EZ BlueZ is in the building. We got the great Frankie with us here on Behind the Brand, EZ BlueZ. Before the evil internet just like dropped you off from us, I believe you had some more questions to give to Frankie. Go right ahead.
Well, and that's, I love that we're in the next segment, because that's really what I wanted to dive into is the actual business aspect, because it is a phenomenal industry. It is an industry that, on any type of night can really do very well. Now, there is also a huge process to get into it, as per you are kind of birthed into it, where you're birthed into a drag family and those different kind of things. Can you expand a little bit about that without giving out too much of the tea? Don't give the secrets, but give like the
On like how to get started, you mean?
yeah.
So when I first started, there was basically one other drag king in Connecticut, and he was, I don't know, 2 hours away from me. I'd never met him. I had a lot of difficulty getting started because, ironically enough, it is the same story as in many other industries where suddenly I, a woman out of drag, am showing up to the boys club. So no one took me seriously at all for a while. And I did not have any drag parents or anybody who helped me get into drag. I just played with makeup every week. I went to local showings of Drag Race at a local bar. And after about a year of showing up in full drag every week, I finally was allowed to do a tips only spot at an open stage, which I was really excited for at the time. And I'm still very grateful to have been given that opportunity, but also it's like, wow, I know people who get into a wig and heels for the first time and a week later are getting paid gigs. So it was a little insulting, but it's a lot easier now. I have 3 or 4 drag sons. I have had a lot of people who have reached out to me on Instagram or Facebook, just, hey, I'm interested in doing this. I don't know what to do, like how to get started. And no matter what, when you look back at when you started, you will cringe. It doesn't matter how prepared you were. So you should just do it, get it over with, and then just improve and show up to shows. I am now, since February, I've been hosting a weekly open stage for just LGBTQ performers of all types, but it's mostly drag in Fairfield. And we have had a lot of people who have only performed once or twice or are making their debut on our stage. And it has been beautiful to watch as people are coming back and really improving, because instead of getting feedback on everything they did wrong, they're in a supportive environment where everybody's giving feedback on how awesome they were. Yeah, maybe your makeup's a little crusty. Who cares? My makeup was crusty when I started. Maybe your wig flies off. Cool. It's an added special effect. I think that the important thing is to just try to find an environment where you can feel safe and comfortable expressing yourself, and just get on that stage. And if you don't know how to, go to whichever performer seems the nicest and isn't in the middle of a conversation with someone else at the time, and ask for advice. And any performer worth their salt will either be able to give you advice or point you towards someone who can.
That's awesome. And it's that way in every type of art. You're going in the beginning, no one starts out writing a concerto perfectly. No one starts out writing Stairway to Heaven. You have a bunch of things where you have to learn your craft, and you sit there and you grow. And I absolutely love that about this industry being the same, because that's really the point of the show. The point of the show is the relatability aspect. There are a whole bunch of people, and yeah, it's been in the news, and not necessarily for phenomenal reasons, but there's a whole bunch of people that will only look at it as just what is being fed to them through a mass media thing, and not realizing that there are artists that pour their heart and soul into it, and they are putting in the paces, and they are learning their craft and building upon that. And in this type of industry, the craft just isn't the performance. It is also becoming your own makeup artist. I mean, some of the most incredible makeup designs at that show at the State House. I believe it was Pax. The green and the black makeup with the mohawk. It was, just absolutely stunning. And it wasn't, it kind of had like, for those in the mainstream aspect, like an Evie Oddly type of thing. It wasn't a matter of being a drag king or a drag queen. It was this incredible performer that was kind of just, I guess, a drag thing. And it was just captivating and amazing to watch. So I really do hope people really see artistry that goes in, and they tip more, darn it, because they should. That's the other thing. I've never seen, and I've been in places, I've never seen better tipping than I've ever than at a drag show. I'm just saying that was the best tipping. I like just P Diddy making it rain all over, and it was just amazing to see. Do you also feel that it's because that has something to do with your, for right now, audience demographic also being from a marginalized community that can have an understanding? Or is it just you guys are awesome?
I think that it's a couple of things. One is that it's made very clear at the beginning of the show that these performers want tips. Nobody's really getting too much money in their booking fees because, we're selling tickets for $20. It's not like we're rolling in dough here. So those tips are honestly really important for performers to be able to afford to buy their makeup and their outfits and stuff, and maybe even the occasional meal if they're lucky. So there's that. There's also the fact that there is performers at drag shows are not afraid of the audience, will often interact with the audience, and people appreciate that. And it's also just a culture where it is accepted. You'll also see it at burlesque shows, but you are unlikely to see it at a rock show because that's just weird. What, you're gonna go stick it in the guitar strap? I mean, you could, but then you're gonna get whacked in the face with a guitar, so it's a little different. But we have been expanding our audiences is one thing I have noticed. It's gone from just, small circles, friends of friends or whatever, to a lot of middle-aged straight couples have found Frankie and are like, oh, wow, you're doing this song I haven't heard from 30 years. What is wrong with you and your sense of music? I love it. And I go, that's right. Because if you are looking for somebody to do Harry Styles' latest single, everyone else will do that. I couldn't tell you what it's called. It's probably Watermelon Sugar. That's still a recent song, right? But yeah, so it is partially the marginalized audience. There's also a lot of drag performers go out to drag shows to support their friends. And certainly I drag my friends to my shows and then I fleece them for money, but then I buy them dinner the next time we hang out. So it evens out.
Evens out. No, it's incredible. And just for the audience listening at home, if you're at a Shame Penguin show and you decide to throw money, please do. I'm totally okay with that. If you want to put money into Tristan's guitar strap, please do. We like money. It helps buy more penguins. And that's just the way it goes.
Bucket, dude. It works.
Right. But I love, everything that you said is really, especially the support aspect, because that in a lot of the other art communities, that gets lost. A lot of people say they're going to support somebody, they're going to go and do that, but they're also booking different type of gigs, or there is, that aspect of slight competition, which I don't like. I feel, and I see it the best, I think, in the drag community, from what I know. And again, I'm still an outsider looking in. You guys have the competition, but it's that night on stage. Like, I'm going to give it my all, so the next performer gives it their all, so the next performer gives it their all, and so on and so forth. It's not really that competition like they get the extra money on the Paramount app for RuPaul's Drag Race because everyone's being shady upon because that's good TV. When in reality, you guys are so super. At least the community that I've seen you roll through is extremely supportive and really do help build each other up. And will stay late. First of all, it's the cleanest green room we have had after an event. The cleanest green room, period. Like, I'm so happy. I'm like, oh, it's the punk rock drag show. That we're gonna be so clean afterwards. I don't have to work. It's gonna be great. Um, it's true though. But yeah, like how is it? Go ahead.
Yeah, so that is something that I personally have really put a lot of effort into fostering in my drag experience and in the people around me. I only book performers, and I try to book a lot of different types of performers, but I will only book performers who are kind people. And you know what? There are a lot of kind people out there, and some people feel pressured to be that shady, catty queen. And it's like, and there actually a few months ago was some controversy within the Connecticut drag community where a local queen who will remain unnamed took to Facebook. One said that she was against hiring people for diversity instead of talent, which, anyone who says that, that's a dog whistle. We all know that what you're actually saying is, hey, book me, I'm white and blonde. But then when that blew up in her face, obviously, she then went on and went, whoa. What I mean to say is that I have respect for everyone in the drag industry except for Frankie Cyanide, who makes a mockery of the industry. And everyone in the community kind of went, what? Because, yeah, I make a mockery of everything. I am a very silly person, and I will make fun of myself to your face. I cannot dance. I will shake my butt until people throw money at me to stop. But, I'm a nice person. So 90% of drag performers are total sweethearts and are mostly really insecure people out of drag. And so when the cattiness does happen, it usually kind of gets squashed by the people around because it's not fun. You don't want to go to a gig and have to be on your best behavior because someone's going to take a joke you said too seriously and get offended forever, It's also, I mean, at that last show we did, my final song was a Pulling for Soup song, the title of which was close enough to Don't Be a Jerk. And it was everything that I stand for, because with how much violence there is in the world right now, in the political sphere, in just everything, there's nothing more punk than just being a nice person. And it's really sad that is the way that the world we live in is, but it is. And also, people got to clean up their messes.
Oh yeah, please. But no, it's so true, and I love that about that being your last song that night, especially Bowling for Soup. They're just so fun, and they have that type of bounce vibe to them. But again, how you commanded that aspect, because not only did you do a routine on stage, but then you got off the stage, engaged the clientele, and really told them that story of like, hey, don't be the jerk. Don't be Steve Martin. Or maybe I'm not sure. Depending. But no, it's amazing to see. Now, did you start getting into putting on productions and shows because you saw all this extra talent, or because you also saw there was a deficiency in the scene for drag king?
I would say that it's kind of a mixture of a lot of things. The biggest thing was that it has changed a lot now, and it has changed a lot since we started doing this, whether or not it's as a result or just because everyone had the same idea at once, who knows? But for the longest time, if you went to a drag show, you're going to hear Rihanna, you're going to hear Britney, you're going to hear Mariah, all of whom great music, very talented divas. Yay. Let's hear Lady Gaga again. Huzzah. And I have nothing against people performing to any of them. That's nice. But it gets boring when it's every single show. And I wanted to go up there and be able to do Richard Hell or Ian Dury or the Sex Pistols or whatever. And so my partner and I, who is also my drag son, Pax Headroom, the one with the really amazing makeup you mentioned earlier, we had a bit of a manic episode one day, and we were like, man, what if we did like a punk Christmas drag show? And it was like horror, punk, alternative, but Christmas, so people would come. And we did it, and it was a really big hit. And then we did Valentine's Day, and it was a huge hit. We, like, the first one, we broke even. We didn't make any money, but we didn't lose any money, which, hey, cool. The Valentine's Day, we actually made a bit of a profit, which we then were able to put towards the performers. We had one person who was a tips only spot, and we went, guess what? You're getting $100 because we made $100 extra. So it kind of started because we wanted there to be more punk alternative drag, and also to just kind of showcase that there are different things out there, because my partner's other partner, because we're poly, is in a hardcore band and often has not felt accepted at drag events as a straight man. And, he still enjoys watching people in ridiculous outfits dancing around and doing splits. And he has a great time. So it's just a multitude of factors in there. And also because I really like being the person on the microphone. So if I'm putting it together, then no one can take the mic from me.
It's true. It's true. And also, you're a phenomenal MC as well. You did hold the show together. You made sure the pacing was on point. You were maintaining the energy from performer to performer. These are all extremely difficult things. Is that also a natural thing for you, or was that something that you had to learn as you got into the?
I would say that part is more or less a natural talent. Again, I was raised by clowns, so you might have missed that because that might have been when you fell off the internet. But I have always had the problem of having a big mouth that gets me in trouble, which is a really good problem to have if you're the person hosting a show. I'm never going to be meek. I'm never going to be mean, but I am always going to be up there and will command your attention. I'll always be loud. Let's go with that.
Okay. I mean, there's a softness to your loudness, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So it's not.
Yeah,
like
I won't be mean, but
yeah. You're not a Karen loud. But
no.
Yeah, you gotta pay attention. It's a little bit like Bienvenue and Welcome.
Yeah, I mean, I am the MC from Cabaret, as you just referenced. I am oh man, now I'm Monty Hall from Let's Make a Deal.
And I'm the broadcaster from WNHHLP 103.5 FM New Haven. Myself, Prestige, and my partner in crime, who's also a broadcaster as well. BlueZ is in the building. I'm losing my train of thought. And speaking of losing your train of thought, do you lose your train of thought when you switch through costumes in mid-act? How much time do you have in mid-performance just to get back and just interact with the crowd once again and still keep that same energy?
So I can barely keep track of my thoughts for 30 seconds in
Wow.
the first place. So it's not really any harder already. I am extraordinarily scatterbrained in general, but I am lucky in that I have chosen my outfits to be mostly really simple.
Okay.
They are loud, they are flamboyant, but
Right.
they are mostly loud and flamboyant pants and blazers, which is a lot more convenient than leotards because I can go to the bathroom and no one else can. Also, I have pockets to put my tips into. It's really, I don't know why drag queens don't start wearing pantsuits, but it's definitely, I really enjoy being able to interact with the audiences, either during performances or during the intermission or after the show. I really love being able to go out and just chat with people, especially with the shows we've been doing at the State House because they are over at a reasonable time. If I'm somewhere that the show's over at 2 a.m., I am not talking to anybody. I am taking my face off and going to sleep immediately. But, you know, if it's not past my bedtime, I love being able to interact with the audience and everything. It's great getting to know who is there and what they did or didn't like about the show so that the next one can be better.
I love it how you said the costumes were simple because a lot of the stuff I have seen when it comes to drag shows, they take a lot of time making those costumes. Like I'm starting to wonder, are they hot in those things? Like how can they move around sometimes? Like it takes a really good, talented person just to keep up that same energy and to maintain themselves as well too when it comes to that art form.
Oh, trust me, you do not want to smell a drag dressing room in the summer. It is an experience. And the fact that Pride Month is in June is homophobic because we have to do all of these things out in the sun, wearing many layers, and it is terrible. And it's not like people actually wash their tights and their corsets after every wear. Nobody does that because then they wear out and you'd have to buy them more often. So yeah, everyone smells terrible in the dressing room in the summer. It's the worst. But yeah, I am honestly amazed by some of the queens who are able to do all these jumps and splits, and even my partner Pax is doing like jumping down from the stage onto their knees and still not wearing knee pads and is over 30 and should really think about knee pads. But that's just the concerned girlfriend in me. But
I understand.
It's that energy. And when I am hosting my Wednesday shows, it is very obvious to me at least, but probably also to the audience, in the second half of the show when I am hosting and I was working my day job at 6 a.m. that day and I had that energy crash, it is obvious, but I'm still going to power through. I just will not have nearly as many jokes. But okay, yeah, let's get this on. Everybody tip. Okay, I won't go sleep. Bye.
But I also love how that's become almost part of the gimmick. You know, and it becomes part of the character. You know, Prestige and I talk about it all the time. We're big fans of pro wrestling, and we feel, you know, and from a marketing point of view, the pro wrestlers that have done the best are themselves turned up to 11. And that really, Frankie, to me, in knowing you a little bit outside and knowing you, you know, inside of the community, it seems like you're on 11. You know, you start off with like, look, I don't have the time for this. This is the way it's going. You know, let's just move forward and make sure you tip. I will go into your pocket and take it out if you are too scared to reach into your pocket. You know, and it's become part of that persona that even goes into those different numbers, like that the Bowling for Soup number, you know, where you are the wonderfully nice nagging
exasperated. Yes. Yeah, I am. There's a somewhat calculated move to have me being lazy and not wanting to do work be part of my persona. But no, for real, I definitely I do amp it up to 11, and I have difficulty sometimes drawing the line of where Frankie ends and then my civilian existence as Selena begins. Especially since I had my hair dyed rainbow 3 weeks ago, and it is still bright as ever. And I am a barista during the day, and I have had people come in and be like, "Hey, wait, I saw you at the drag brunch." It's like, "You caught me." Oh no, my name tag doesn't say Frankie, but I'm Frankie. How you doing? So yeah, it's definitely people who are authentic on stage, even as a crazy character, Pax, while up there being a little drag monster of indeterminate gender, is just as insane in real life, running around, and I have to like pull them off of trees that they've decided to climb because there was a cute squirrel up there and stuff. It's like, so it's really just taking what you are and moving on with it and being ridiculous. I've tried to do things that like, oh, I'm gonna go in the opposite direction of my normal self. It's weird. It doesn't work for me. It works for other people, maybe, but not for me.
Fair, very fair, very fair. No, it's interesting because I also do see that. Like I see it almost. And again, I'm an outside observer, so I can see where that kind of you have that ability to be yourself, and especially I guess in both either the drag king or queen, when you're in a society that says you have to look A, B, C, and D, to have a medium that you can then push to who you truly see yourself as, or the cartoon version of who you truly see yourself as. To have that freedom is a beautiful thing, and you know, for those who are straight or straight presenting and have not gone to a drag show, go, because you'll get a little bit more in touch with who you really are inside, and you will know it is okay to be yourself. It is one of the most accepting communities I've ever seen, and thank you for that, because you don't have to be.
I mean, the world is mean enough. I don't want to add to that. I'm going to use that as a wonderful segue into our next show at the State House is going to be on July 24th. Tickets are not yet up for purchase because we are still finalizing who the cast is going to be. But we are really excited. The last time we had a show on a Sunday, it was a really amazing time because we started at about 7:30. So people were able to bring dinner and just eat it in the audience and watch. And it was just a really nice time. And also the open stage that I host every week, not only do I want it to be open and welcoming for the performers, but I drink, but the signature drink at Wacky Wednesdays is the sweet cyanide that is non-alcoholic by default. And if you want there to be alcohol, then you ask for it. And there are a lot of sober people who come out because the nightlife scene is not a safe space for a lot of folks. And especially after COVID and lockdown and quarantine made a lot of people maybe cut back a bit on their vices. I wanted it to be as open as possible. And as I said, we have straight people who come, and the bartender is straight. We make fun of him for it all the time, but it's all in good jest. He's also a go-go dancer, so sometimes he performs. And then I make fun of him for being naked, and I'm like, ha ha, you lost your shirt. But he's great. I love that guy. But I think that the openness is a really important thing, and I try my hardest, even if to some people the idea of like, oh, but it's punk. You're supposed to be mean. You're supposed to be spitting on people and breaking your guitars. Like, no, that's what posers do. If you're actually punk, you're probably just doing what you want to do, but doing it loudly and then getting yelled at for it and telling people to go away because you don't care what they think. That's more punk. So, yeah, it's that accepting this, and I certainly accepting this isn't a word. But
now.
I
Coined.
certainly, yeah. I've always had a great time chilling with you after the show last time. I probably didn't leave until midnight, and we were just chatting about, I don't know, probably bad movies or something.
Christopher
Walken.
The Scottsdale, Scottsdale, PA, which I saw. It's amazing, and I can't wait until the 23rd to talk to you about it. It's going to be fun.
24th.
24th. It is the 24th. No, it's incredible to see, and I love that. The State House in particular is probably the most multicultural venue, because that week alone there was klezmer music night, and then you guys, and then Steve Rogers had his CD release party, and then there was an indie rock night, and the following week Little Eazy-E was there. So it's a beautiful thing to see all the different culture have a spot to call their own and to call home. Obviously you have the place in Fairfield, but what else is your home turf when it comes to performances?
So the place in Fairfield is what I would consider my home turf. It's Trevi Lounge right off of exit 24, which if you're going north is the one that has that billboard that says "Your wife is hot" and then has the mannequin of a lady in a bathing suit. That billboard is so cheesy, but yeah, it's right off of exit 24, and I have kind of made that into my home, and I have completely renovated that dressing room and everything. And I live in Stamford. I'm on the board for Stamford Pride. Okay. We just did some amazing performances down here. A youth rave for teenagers that was really well attended, and I look forward to doing more because I absolutely love seeing how open and honest and just chill teenagers are these days. The kids are all right. I like them.
No, the kids are awesome, and we actually love the fact how open and honest you've been with us on the show. But unfortunately, the Apollo curtain is starting to be pulled on us, and we want to give this opportunity for you to tell people how they can connect with you, and find out all that wonderful information about the show on the 24th. About what you've got going on. I think this weekend in Hartford for Hartford Pride. How can they get in touch with you?
Yes. So I am on Instagram at Frankie M Cyanide. The M stands for meh, and is because the Frankie Cyanide account was taken by somebody with one post in 2011. I'm not bitter. But so Frankie M Cyanide, that's FRANKIE M. And if you can't spell cyanide, then I don't know. And then I'm also on Facebook. If you're farther down around Stamford, then that is at Stamford CT Pride. You can see any new events that we're doing there. And we are planning on more brunches and nighttime events in the area. Plus, Trevi Lounge, TREVI Lounge is just at Trevi Lounge on Instagram. So those are kind of the places. I do a lot of work with New Haven Pride Center and everything. Not terribly often am I actually on their social media, but you should follow them too. They're great. And for the show on the 24th, in addition to me posting links on my various socials, you should also probably be following the State House, which I think is State House NHV on Instagram, and is the State House on Facebook. And on their website, they will have the link to buy those tickets. And it's going to be a redonkulous time. I really hope the air conditioning works well there because it's going to be in the heat of July. But
It works.
that's Connecticut, baby.
I tested it this weekend. It works.
Oh, thank God. My nose will thank you.
Yes.
And also, we thank you, Frankie. Thanks for being a proud broadcast on WNHH LP 103.5 FM New Haven. This has been Behind the Brand, myself, Prestige, and EZ BlueZ. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me.
Wondering what to write about, trying to figure out what it's all about. Existentialist, am I worth anything or just a scout? I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know.
Spending time all alone, sending my songs through the phone. Dreaming of a better home, we while focused on trying to hone